from the Maverick Party, Tariq Elnaga. Come on in, young man.
Thank you.
Sit there in the chair. I love that cowboy hat.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you can put those headphones on under the cowboy hat. Great to see you, Tariq.
I thank you.
It's nice to see you again. Last we talked, you were running as a candidate. You're an Alberta Pride fellow. Are you a member of the UCP?
I sure am. I sure am. So I did vote. I did vote for this today. So let's see how it goes.
And have you been on a particular leadership campaign team?
So not quite, in the sense that I've got a vested interest to make sure that the NDP never see the light of day in Alberta again.
Yeah. I think a lot of people feel that way.
Right.
They're voting that way tonight.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's kind of where I'm at. And what I am interested to see is, regardless of which leadership campaign wins today, how they bring in the other 8. Because we cannot afford, with 6 months to go to the general, to splinter the party. So that's kind of what I'm really interested to see, depending on who wins today, how that goes.
Now, there's some candidates who I think have gone so hard against Danielle Smith. If she wins, I don't know how they can, even if Danielle Smith is magnanimous and says, oh, no worries, it was all just, we all said things.
They can't have that Trump-Ted Cruz relationship.
I agree. I'm really interested, and that's why, depending on the results today, will it be a Danielle Smith blowout, or will it be close?
What do you think?
I think it, and I might be wrong here, but I think it's going to be a blowout. Now, that's what I think. But if it isn't, and there's 2 different strategies. If it's a blowout, she could say, well, the entire vast majority of the membership voted for me. I could do what I want. But if it isn't a blowout, you're going to have to engage. If it was really, really close, then you're going to have to engage the members of the other campaigns, of Taves' campaign, of Brian Jean's campaign, etc. And the interesting thing is, she's the only one without a seat in this leadership election. So the thing becomes, then, do you need all these other seats? Do you need cabinet positions for those other leadership contenders? So I'm really interested to see where that will go.
I came in here, and at first, this area of the room was open just to journalists setting up on the little stage. You can see behind me lots of lights from I think that's the CBC over there in front of me, the CTV. So there was just sort of media insiders, but I also saw lobbyists.
Right.
I'm not going to say their name. And I thought, oh, brother, the deep state of Alberta. And they'll move from this leader to the next leader. And the trouble is, they don't want any change.
Yep.
They don't, they're about monetizing and commercializing politics, not about ideas. And my heart sank a bit. On the one hand, Danielle Smith has to reach out to incumbents because, she comes from outside the caucus. She has to work with some people on the inside. How does she, full of new ideas, challenging ideas, if she becomes premier, how does she engage with the old party, some of which dates back decades?
Right.
And they don't care.
And that she was never really a part of.
Yeah. And that look down on her as an outsider. And how does she engage with them without keeping all
the gross parts of it?
Gross parts of it, the oleaginous lobbyists.
Yeah, it's a great question, Ezra. And what I think is, again, if she's elected, and she's elected by a blowout, then that's a message saying the old guard doesn't work, and the old party doesn't work, and that we want something new, and we want something completely radical with her Alberta Sovereignty Act. At this point, and to use again the Trump reference, is this the time to drain the swamp then? Is this the time to clean house and say, let's do something differently? We have Alberta's future on the line in 6 months' time, a little bit more, but it feels like it. I mean, it's going to go by really quick. Is she at the point right now where she says, you know what, we're cleaning house, we're doing this differently, we're doing this for the constituents, not the lobbyists or the old guard? I'd love to see that from whoever wins.
I'll go to you in 1 second, Sheila, but I just got to spit out.
Please.
There are some lobbyists who would rather see Danielle Smith lose,
Sure,
and then take over the Conservative Party, and be restored, than live in a Danielle Smith Conservative Party in which the swamp was cleaned. I mean, we saw that with Trump. He wanted to clean out the swamp, while the swamp cleaned him out, and they were happy to have Joe Biden win as long as Trump himself was out. I think that's a good analogy. Sheila, what you about to say?
No, I was going to ask you then if Danielle Smith wins,
Mm.
what's the first thing that she does?
I think she's got to deliver on the easier implemented, achievable aspects of the Alberta Sovereignty Act. So that's the central basis of her entire, and this is why I really appreciate where she's coming from.
I'm going to
This-
guess you voted for her.
You know what? I'm not going to say, but you could guess. You know, there's, I did rank. So I'll say this
No,
on
you
the
don't have
on
to
the
tell
8
me.
names, there were 3 names I ranked, and that was it.
Okay.
So I will say this. I think if she accomplishes something of her Alberta Sovereignty Act right away before the 6-month general election and is really serious about it, whether it's the pension plan or Alberta's own police force or so on, then people are going to buy into it and say, okay, here's where
The world didn't end also.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So the thing is, what I do appreciate about this general leadership election is that it's pushing for Alberta autonomy. Every candidate talked to some variation about Alberta's autonomy from Ottawa. And I love that because you both
Right.
know that's where I stand, right? So I'm very keen. I'm again keen to see a pro Alberta autonomy candidate win today, and really deliver on that platform today.
Well, Tariq, thanks for stopping by. It's only 7:05 Mountain Time, and I think that they're planning on releasing the results. Is it at 7:30? Is that when we're expecting the results?
That's what I hear.
So you can see that people are starting to spill in. I'm seeing lots of friendly faces, and it was a wonderful feeling being welcomed by the grassroots of the party. I think Rebel News is regarded as sort of keepers of the flame,
Absolutely.
and the reason I say that is because we were so critical of Jason Kenney. But grassroots members here have only been, I don't know if you have,
Constantly.
and I think it's because they knew we were,
It's honest criticism.
that's right,
Sorry
it
to
wasn't
interrupt you.
unfair. It wasn't
They
gotcha.
aren't gotcha questions. You know, when we're asking a question at a press conference
Right.
to Jason Kenney, it's because we want to know what he thinks because we're, I guess, to some extent to the right of them, and we're asking questions conservatives want answers to. And he resented that because he couldn't write off our good questions as gotcha. Oh, you're paid for by Trudeau. You're from the mainstream media. You're a liberal.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? The grass tops of his own party.
Yeah.
The grassroots is an ordinary voter.
Mhm.
A grass tops, that's a phrase for a party director in a riding, a chief
They like
volunteer.
us too.
The most. They look to us
Oh, absolutely.
as an antidote to the media party. And this is my last question for you.
Please.
There's a lot of media party types here, regime media,
Right.
bailout media, Trudeau media. The CBC as always has the biggest contingent here because why not? Because they get free money.
Right.
And I feel in my bones that if Danielle Smith wins tonight, they are going to unleash a hurricane against her. Some of it fair, some of it unfair, all of it designed to diminish and destroy. What do you think?
You know what? Let them. Who cares? Is what I say. You do amazing work, and this is why I've been not only a Rebel supporter but a fan, and I love working with you, and I love being on your shows.
Well, we love having you.
Thank
Yes.
you.
You're in our
thank-
documentary.
Thank you. I know, super exciting. So what I would say is, can we control them? No, you know that they're bought and paid for. So the thing is, they're going to do what they do. I mean, we saw it at the federal level. There's going to be something coming out on Pierre Poilievre every single week for the next 3 years. So the thing is, let them. The biggest thing will be, how does whoever win the leadership today react? Do they apologize and bend to them like
Right.
Aaron O'Toole did, for example? Or do they say, you know what? Who cares? You know, you're going to say what you're going to say. Troll them back.
That takes some guts and some courage. Pierre's got that.
Right.
Pierre Poilievre. I love it. And Ron DeSantis, I see it a lot. We'll see how that. We just had Matt Altime in that chair,
Right.
Who says, and I think he's right, that Danielle Smith seeks to have communication with all media. I don't think she's as pugilistic as Poilievre DeSantis, and maybe that suits her. She does have a friendly style.
She does.
Right.
Maybe kill them with kindness, but we'll see. Because I think her biggest battle is not with the NDP party; it's with the media party, and I think that'll start tonight. We'll see how this place is crawling with lobbyists and journalists. We'll see how that goes.
No, absolutely.
Well, this is great to see you, my friend, and that's right. I'm glad you mentioned it. you are in our documentary Ungovernable,
Yes,
and then we've got a premiere of that at the Canyon Meadows.
Are you going to be there?
I definitely will be there.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to be
Yeah.
great. We've got a Calgary premiere at Canyon Meadows Cinemas, and we've got 2 events
You're
in the
welcome at
Edmonton
our
area.
Edmonton one.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
why not?
If
Great.
you want to learn more, just go to albertadocumentary.com. Very easy to remember. Jeff, great to see you.
Thank you so very much.
Oh,
Thank you
it's our
for all
great
that you
pleasure.
do. I
Well,
appreciate you both. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, there you have it, Tariq Elnaga.